Okay, good morning and welcome to Kesubos Daf Gimel. I know Kesubos Daf Gimel is Shabbos Daf, but I'm trying to do it on Friday over here because it's a short Motzei Shabbos, and I like to have Motzei Shabbos for myself. Have a little entertainment in my life, kosher entertainment, of course. Only listening to meaningful things, doing tshuva, doing tikkun chatzos. I do tikkun chatzos twice on Motzei Shabbos. I do it, I do 12 o'clock. I do the Goyish 12 o'clock, and I do the chatzos, the halachic. So I do two tikkun chatzos on Motzei Shabbos because, listen, obviously everyone wants entertainment on Saturday night, but it has to be a meaningful type of entertainment. So, I usually read some introductions to Kabbalah and things about tikkun chatzos, which is entertaining for me to read about these things. And I do tikkun chatzos both according to the Gregorian calendar and both according to the Jewish calendar, just to make sure that I was Yotzei Tikkun Chatzos. I'm joking. Listen, if you want to join my shiur, this is the type of stuff I give you. I give you good jokes, good fun, personality, a lot of personality, and I'm going to give you the daf in under a half an hour, almost all the time. And Ian shiur, don't want to miss that. Also, 8 to 10 minutes. Let's get started. Daf Gimel. I hope you heard daf Beis. If you didn't, go back and listen to it. We're going to start towards the top of Daf Gimel and Aleph. The Gemara basically concluded that really, by Gittin, there is a concept of ones. They said because of snuos or prutzos, they're worried about certain women who are either too machmir or too makel on themselves. So therefore, they said, ain't ones. But Gittin, right, the get, you gave a get, and you said it tonight, I'm going to come back, if I don't come back in 12 months, it's a get. Even if you had an excuse why you didn't come back in 12 months, it's still a get. So let's pick it up. The Gemara says, "Mishum snuos uprutzos," at the fourth line. Sharin and Eish Islam. Right. The Gemara is assuming now that really midoraisa yesh onus begit, and the onus mavatal the get, not a good get, and she's remarried. You're gonna let her marry somebody else. You're gonna have mamzerim. So the Gemara says, "Snuos uprutzos sharin and Eish Islam." The Gemara says, "Yes, kol makaj zayt rabban makaj v'kina rabban lekidushin minay." There's a concept of kina rabban lekidushin that anyone who makes Kedushin, when you say Kedushin, when you're Makadesh a woman, under the Chop, what you say, Harei HaMikdash Tabad to Kdash Moshe Yisrael. When you say Kdash Moshe Yisrael, what are you saying? You're saying, according to most Rishonim, they learn, is that you're saying, I'm depending my Kedushin on whatever, the Haskama, the agreement of the Rabbanim. That's what the Ritva says, that Rabbanim agree with what I'm doing, and if any point later on, the Rabbanim say, wait a second, we don't agree with what you did, so they have the ability to uproot the Kedushin Mikara, and he was never married, so he's never married to the woman. And here, even though technically they were married, and they gave a get, and there was an onus, because of the problem with snuos prutzos, so therefore they said the get is, we're uprooting the kedusha. And that's the simple explanation of the Gemara. If you want a different explanation of the Gemara, go to Ian with Ben Sion, the Ian shiur on Daf Beis, where I explained it according to the Rashba, who says over here, it doesn't mean they uprooted the kedusha, and they just said the get is valid over here. I explained it because it's a different case over here, talking about a tanai in the get. And the Tanai is Milsa Achrisi, Mavatal the get. So therefore, they were married. They just, even though technically it's not a good get, they remade it a get. They made it a get, or they just kept it as a get, as opposed to Mavatal as a get. So I said that very clearly in the Ian shiur on Daf Beis. Don't want to miss that. So here, we'll explain it according to the simple explanation. Most Rishonim learn they uprooted the Kedushin. Amalei Ravina Ravashi Tenak Tekadesh Bakaspa. You can uproot a Kedushin if it's Makadesh with money. There's 30 ways in Masechus Kedushin you Makadesh a woman. Kesef Sharobia. And, money you can say instead of, right, we have to figure it out. He gave her a ring, so there was Kedushin. How do you get rid of the actual action of giving her? So you can say that Chazal can say, no, that was just a present he gave her. You gave a woman a present. You didn't give it to her Torah's Kedushin in order to become engaged to her. And similarly, a star, you could say that star, Chasba Ba'alm, the Rabbanan could say it's just a piece of shard, a piece of paper. He didn't mean it for Kedushin. But Bia, Ma'ikal Amir, what are you going to do with the Bia? He goes, bowl her. The Bia automatically makes Kedushin. The Gemara says, Shir Rabbanan Bilas Bilas. No, they said, no, when he was bowl her, he did it just for promiscuity, just to enjoy it. He wasn't doing it for the sake of furthering a relationship, for engagement. Ikad Amri, so that's the Gemara, that's explained. According to the way I explained it in Iyot Ben Sion, you would say over here the Gemara means, Afkin Rabbanan Kedushin Minei, doesn't mean they uprooted the Kedushin, it just means that they said this thing, that the Kedushin was a matana, and the Bilah was no, so people should think, right? People should think that they weren't really married, but the mechanism of they really were married, and they just said it's a valid get, and that's why you let her marry. It's just based on people's observation. They were afkin rabban kedusha, and people's observation. They'll say to people, "We got rid of the kedushin." Halachically, though, the kedushin was still there. They made the get a valid get. So the Gemara says, "Ika da Amri." Some say a different version of Rava. Rava said before, "Way paskin." Ain't on his beginning. Here's Amarava v'chein linyan gittin. Just like by feeding her by mazonos, they said that there's an onus, there's a claim of onus over here. Here by gittin, there's also a claim of onus. Amal kasar Rava yesh onus begittin. He holds there's a time of onus begittin. Meisives. The Gemara first tries to bring proofs the opposite way. Where's a gitech? Same Mishnah we quoted before in Daf Beis. Where's a gitech? Imlo basmi kam rash shnei masar chodesh. It's you get if you don't come within 12 months. So meis b'zoch shnei masar chodesh. And he dies within 12 months. Ain't no get. It's not a good get. Mesu the ain't no get. The Mishpah specifies dying, right? Which is he never really could take into account. Achala, if he got sick, which is more possible, I'll raise a get. It is considered to be a get. So you see what? Ain't onus begit, even though chala is a type of onus, right? I mentioned it's a valid onus in terms of feeding her, so it should be valid over here. You see onus of chala. He couldn't come back because of medical reasons. I raise that get, so therefore, ain't onus beginning. Can't tie an onus. Get really. There is a tie on onus beginning. He go mashman. The chiddush the mission has nothing to do with onus. The ain't get lachar misa. The reason it's not valid, it said misa over there is because he said the get should be chal after 12 months, and he died before it was chal, so he's dead. So you can't give a gerushin. So when I say ain't get lachar misa, tanale reisha, we already learned that somewhere else, and earlier in Maseches Gittin. Right, so the Gemara on Daf Beis said that Mishnah. The Gemara here doesn't mention it. The Gemara says no. That the second Mishnah really, right? The first Mishnah tells you in Gelach Harmisa. This Mishnah, the second Mishnah, is also telling you in Gelach Harmisa, but it's to tell you that you might think like a different opinion, Rabbi Yossi's opinion, that the date in the shtar is Mochiach, that it's already considered Chal. The get is considered Chal Ma'achshav, right? From now, right? Because he wrote the date in the get. Not like he said, it's going to be chal after 12 months, and therefore the ksav of the shtar is mochiach according to Rabbi Yossi, and therefore the chiddush of this mishnah is to say no, the time in the shtar is not mochiach, and therefore it's meant to be chal after 12 months, and he died before 12 months, so ein get lachar misa. Tashma ma'achshav imlo basi mikan v'ashnem asar chodesh. The end of that mishnah, the second mishnah, he says he wants to get to be chal now if he doesn't come within 12 months. So meiz b'zoch shnem asar chodesh. How is a get? He died. It is a get. See. My lavu in the chal. Wouldn't we say also, just like misa is a type of onus, so therefore, becoming sick is also. So you see it in the Mishnah says, "Harei that get." So you see a proof to this version of Rava, right? I'm sorry. You would see over here. You see, ain't onus beginning. The fact that these tainas of meis or chala are insignificant over here, right? So therefore they're insignificant. So therefore you see, ain't onus beginning. So the Gemara says no. My lava would. Gemara says lo meis dafkud lo nichal typical yavam. There's no proof to other types of onus. Misa is different. Why is misa? Because misa, he wants to be a get even if he dies because. He doesn't want her to fall in front of the yavam. He wants the gerushin to be chal, so she doesn't become free because of the misa and fall in front of the yavam, do chalitz or yibam. However, when it comes to chala, right, that wouldn't be, the Mishnah didn't include that case. And if it was an onus like chala, he got sick, so then it wouldn't be a get, and we would say yesh tainah onus begitin like Rava, the second version of Rava. Tashma Mehuda Amar Lahu. Let's bring a proof. A certain person came. There was a case. He lost him and Shloshim Yom have a yita. He says, if I don't come back in 30 days again, Asa B'sof, he's coming downtown Manhattan, he's trying to cross over, what is that, Staten Island, what is the water called, I'm not sure, the harbor over there, he's trying to cross over the Staten Island ferry. Asa B'tlos Yomin, Upaske Mavra, the boat wasn't there, the ferry wasn't there. Amalu, Chazu Dasai, I really want to come, I'm here, just no ferry. Shmuel Loshme Masya. So Shmuel says it's not considered coming. So he doesn't have a tainus onus. Rava said before, he doesn't have a tainus onus. Whereas the shchiach shiny came with the boile last night, he should have been very cognizant of the fact that the ferry is not always there. So when he made the stipulation, if they don't come, he should have included also that if the ferry is not there, it's not like voiding the get. It's not like I don't want it to be a get. I only want it to be a get if the boat is here. He didn't say that. So therefore, only an onus to shchiach like this, obviously he meant it to be a get, but normally there would be yesh tanas onus begitin. So that's the second version of Rava. We passed at the first version of Rava, and we've explained it before, and Ian share more. Our Mishnah, which says that you're supposed to get married only on a Wednesday night for the psula, is only to kind of Ezra. When Ezra was Masakin, one of the things he was Masakin, in Masachas Baba Kam and Daf Pei Aleph, is the Bate Dinim should meet on Mondays and Thursdays. Shein Bate Din Shein Bate Din Kfu and Ela B'Sheni B'Chamishi. Aval Kol Dekan Ezra Shabbat Din Kfu and B'Chol Yom. Ezra was the beginning of the second base on Mikdash. So it was before that time, at the time of the first base on Mikdash, right? So you can get married on any day, any night of the week. So the Gemara asks, Kol Dekan Ezra Ma'ida Hava. Who cares? I mean, what happened. Whatever happened, it's not relevant. The Gemara is trying to teach us halachas that pertain to us nowadays. Hachi Kamar. This is what the Gemara means to say. Ika bati dinim dekfuin ha'idna kikodim tekanas Ezra isha nisis b'chol yom. If you have a situation where bati dinim, where courts could potentially convene any day, which is the case nowadays. Therefore, that's why people get married any night of the week. There is an additional reason to get married on Wednesday for shaktu, but the Gemara says that there's a way b'diavad. If you're triach, we'll see in a second, you can get around shaktu. So, isha needs to b'chol yom. The Gemara says habayin shaktu, but you need shaktu, so you need to get married on Wednesday night, so you can prepare on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, right? Prepare on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and get married. You can't get married on Shabbos. We're going to see because you're making a kinyan on Shabbos. It's also a problem of the bila on the Friday night, which is making chabura. We'll talk more about that. If you're married to psula and you puncture the hymen, so you're gonna draw blood, which is a malacha on Shabbos. So we're gonna shaktu, and the food is gonna be refrigerated. It's not gonna be fresh. The Gemara says the triach. The Gemara says b'di evet. If he technically get married on Sunday night or Monday night, if he prepared the food Thursday night, Friday night, and Sunday, you get married on Monday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you get married on Sunday. It refrigerates the food. But the evidence, that's okay. So the Gemara said, "L'chatchila is supposed to, right? Once we already have the Bati Dinim meeting, and that's why you have to get married on Wednesday night. So therefore, we do l'chatchila. Don't do it on Sunday night. Do it on Wednesday night. But once you can do it any day, so therefore, b'diavad we say, if he's triachle, if he prepared 3 days, it's b'diavad okay. The Gemara says, my shaktu. Where do we find which brisa? Where did Chazal know this concept of shaktu? They were masakin that should have a nice meal for the woman. She should get respected. She should have a nice fitting wedding meal. The Brisa says, why did she get married on Wednesday? Like our Mishnah says, that if the man has a claim that he didn't see any blood, he'd come to base him. Let her get married on Sunday. Similar reason, it basically means on Monday morning also. The Gemara says, she prepared 3 days of the meal. Right, you should make sure to invite as many guests as possible, 500, 1,000, right? And prepare the meal for all of them because they're all his friends, right? They're all his dear, closest friends. So he wants to spend an exorbitant amount of money, even though he learns kollel, and his wife is a teacher in school, and they have no money in their bank account, and they're going in debt just for their first child, and they have 12 children, right? I'm joking. This is a true problem actually that goes on. You see from the Gemara, Shaktu Chachamim, if he's making the meal, he's arranging the meal, the man, maybe he's even cooking the meal. How much can a man really cook, It's obviously a small wedding feast, not a huge one, extravagant one like they do nowadays. So they were Shaktu Chachamim, and on Wednesday night, he marries her. It's a kind of Eilah when there was a time in history where there's a danger to get married on Wednesday night. There was a minhag, an established minhag in some communities to get married on Tuesday night. The Chachamim didn't protest this. They said, let it go on. Let them marry. Wherever they had that minhag, let them get married on a Tuesday night. On Monday night, you shouldn't get married. If there's unfortunate circumstances that happen, mutter. It's technically allowed. This is less of a heter than nagu. Nagu is an established minhag. This is mutter b'shas adchak. So the Gemara is going to explain what these two cases are. Mafrisha tzachazim and akala. The Brisa continues. You separate the chassan from the kala leili Shabbos tchila. They get married on a Friday, right? They can't have bia rishona on Friday night. Minesho sechabura, because you're drawing blood, and it's a malacha in the Torah on Shabbos to draw blood. My sakana. What is the meaning of the second clause in the Brisa? When there was a sakana, they have the minhag to do it on Tuesday. Maybe you'll say the sakana was there's a gzeira that the non-Jews made, that anyone who gets married on a Wednesday night, they don't want them to get married, and that's the night they usually got married. So anyone who gets married on Wednesday night, they're going to kill them. So because now if people are actually going to die over this, what do you mean a minhag? Some places they got married on Tuesday. You should be okay the takana chazal and let everyone get married on Tuesday or any day. I'm a rabbi. The amri b'sul needs to be on Ravi. T boiled igam on tchila. Now there was a gzeira in a certain period of time that the non-Jewish forces would come into the Jewish towns, and the officer there, or the prime minister, would get first dibs with the girl. He would bowl her before she gets married to the man, and we'll see the problem with this in a second. Hi sakana. Why is the Brisa call it a sakana? Danger. Onasu. Right? It's against her will. She's being raped. It's against her will. Right? She's not going to die. Some people don't know that it's mutter of a makom onus. He's going to rape you. Right? You're not responsible to give up your life. But there are snuos. There are people on a women that are very frum, that won't know this halacha. And they're going to give up blood. They'd rather be killed. Right? He's going to threaten them, either have beer with me or I'm going to kill you. And they'll give up their lives. That's why it's sakana. They're going to come danger. They're going to die. Literally, the onus shari. So why? They have a simple way to fix this problem. Just tell all the women, in the shuls, the rabbanim should get up and say, listen, if this happens to you, that the officer, the prime minister of company tries to beat bowl you first, let him do it. Right? It's mutter. You're not going to be usher to your husband. I'm talking Israelis over here. It's not usher to her husband. Let him do it, and it's mutter, right? You don't have to be yarg val yavar over here. We'll discuss more in seeing why there's no yarg val yavar over here. Shows his ass over here, right? Gimel chamer gilei arayis is one of the things you have to give your life for. The Gemara says here it's mutter. So you can prove this of economic kahanas. The Gemara says it doesn't help to make this drasha, because first of all, you have women that are very lax in their shmiras on mitzvos, and they'll even when the prime minister comes, they'll enjoy it and they'll want to do it baratzon. They don't like their husband is marrying so much. The prime minister, the president is going to be with them. They like him better, so they like him better. They'll do it baratzon, and then they'll become usher to their husbands who are Yisrael. Mikadami kahana. So also, some women who get married are getting married to a Kohen. You get married to a Kohen, so therefore, even if it's an onus, even if they get raped, right, they're going to be tuma, they're going to be tameh, and they're not going to be usher to their husband, right? The Gemara Daf Nun Aleph talks about that. If you're a Yisraelis and you get raped, you're still muteris to your husband. Only if you do it baratzon. If you commit adultery baratzon, then you're usher to your husband. If you do it on onus, if you're forced, so then you're mutter to your husband. But a woman, Neisha's Kohen, right, she's usher to the husband. They have more kedusha kohanim, and therefore even if onus is usher. So therefore, since there's kahanos, so therefore they're not going to want to be usher to their husband, so they'll give up their lives. They'll be willing to give up their lives. You can tell them it's mutter. It's not going to help them. They'll know it's not mutter for kahanos, and they'll give up their lives to be sakana. So the words of the akre. Why don't you just be okay the takana of Chazal and say forget about Wednesday nights, do whenever you want. Gzeira avida lidebatala. The gzeira of the non-Jews, right? These were things that happened for certain periods of history, for a certain amount of time. It's not going to happen forever. Takanas of Chazal were made for long periods of time. So because of a short period of time that this might happen, so therefore they weren't going to oker the takana of Chazal. They said really Wednesday night is the night, and if it happens, there's a problem with the goyim, so that you can do it on Tuesday night. If there's a minhag to do it over there. So, so once they have the minhag and it's an established minhag, they're getting married on Tuesday night. The guy's going to come on Tuesday night. So why is Tuesday night help? So the rest of mistake alak or nafshe. Since some places did on Wednesday night, some places on Tuesday night, so he's not going to come because he might end up being they're getting married on Wednesday night. He's not going to come on Tuesday to risk it. So therefore, he's not going to come. So therefore, it helps. The end of the Brisa says, on Monday you shouldn't get married. If there's an onus, unfortunate circumstances, unforeseen circumstances, it's mutter. My onus. What are we talking about? What we were talking about before, that the person, the president is going to come and he's going to have first dibs with the woman. He's going to ma'anis her. Hasam karile sakana, v'haka karile onus. It's different lashon in the Brisa. Once it calls sakana, here it's calling onus. Su hasam nagu hakam mutter. In the first case, it says nagu is established minhag. Here it says mutter. Mutter, you're allowed to technically do it, but there's no established minhag to do it. Amarava, the case in this third clause in the Mishnah is talking about the Amri Sar Sava Bala'ir. It's talking about a different case where the head of the army, right, the general is coming to the city. He's not interested in raping the woman, but he's going to ruin your feast. You prepare a nice wedding feast. He's going to come take it for himself, for himself and his hungry troops. Hechidami, Ida Asi v'Chalif. If he's going to come, right, he's only there for a couple of days. So Liaki, wait till the next Wednesday. Why are you pushing it into Monday? L'shricha the Asi v'Kava. He's coming and he's going to be there for a while. So therefore, you have to get married. You can't push off your wedding indefinitely. So whereas at least get married on Tuesday, right? He knows women get married on Wednesday, so he's not going to come and take your feast until Wednesday. At least Tuesday get married. Then where's Asfarava Dide Begimel Ka'asu? No, the quartermasters, the people that are in charge of preparing the food for the army, they're coming a day early. So therefore, they'll come already on Tuesday because they know the wedding's on Wednesday, and they'll see all this preparation, the charcuterie boards and things like that. They'll start eating them and they'll save it for the army and they'll ruin the whole meal. So therefore, this is not as terrible as people dying, women dying of Kiddush Hashem. Here we're talking about just losing money. So therefore, they said if that's the case, you get married on Monday, but it's only mutter. We're not going to establish a minhag like that, but it's mutter. There's an onus. We feel the monetary loss, and you're allowed to push it to Monday when it's necessary, when you know that the generals of the army are coming to take your meal. That's the conclusion of today's shiur. And Ben Siyam, we're going to discuss the line of the Gemara, Shari. The Gemara seems to imply that you could tell a woman when the non-Jew wants to come, the non-Jewish president wants to come and be with the Nara Murasa, she's engaged right now. It's mutter. Why is that mutter? It's one of the Gimel Chamuros. You have to give up your life for Gimel Chamuros. We'll talk more about that. Ben Sion. Tosfos talks about it. We'll talk Tosfos and other ideas coming up there. See you there. Bye.